Well, IG has to pick Lifestealer here, so they do. The question is, do you go Lifestealer Ricky or do you go something else? Because Boboka plays a kind of mean roaming hero. He's very, very good at that. I assume this is Boboka. It says Borax, unless my eyes are deceiving me. Or Borar.
I can't even see from here. No, they go for Coddle. I think Coddle is a solid choice.
So I actually have not seen Coddle at all because he's always banned out.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Is he OP?
I mean, Q plays Coddle, right? From TI5 days.
Yep.
Yeah, he plays a sick Coddle. And I think it works out very well against a hero like Slardar. I don't think Vici Gaming is the kind of team that's going to draft Night Stalker and after seeing a Coddle, because I don't think that's
a sick counter pick.
I don't think that's a true answer. Personally.
You don't think that's a true answer?
I don't think that is a true answer.
Okay. Yeah, because I think Coddle is his strength is mostly in the lane stage as well as his ability to move people around in the mid game, right? Obviously, tower defense is kind of built into him as well.
Let's see what they open up with after a Slardar. Vici Gaming generally just drafting, like, I would say fairly standard mid-game lineups. They usually have 2 to 3 heroes that offer a lot in team fights. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just draft similarly in this one as well.
Any particular hero that comes to your mind that kind of fits the bill? It feels like something like a DDC Disruptor would...
I think Disruptor is actually pretty good.
Like, would just be like a safe pick.
You definitely want to address the Lifestealer as soon as possible, in my opinion.
I mean, how do you address the Lifestealer? Is this the answer? The minus armor?
The minus armor? I think it is. I think it's alright.
Okay.
Maybe they'll go into the second phase with a Shadow Fiend, maybe. Not too sure what he plays, though.
So one thing I'm not unsure about is, because we haven't been watching a lot of the Chinese game, is how popular is Venge? Like in Chinese scene, right? Like I feel like...
You think Venge is pretty good against him?
I mean, if Vici wants more minus armor, they could pick it up. I also think that Venge, like a swap into immediate disable of some sort, like swap into Crush, could surprise Lifestealer. Something like that.
10 seconds
I don't think you can test that kind of reaction from burning. I think that
he's an old man. Of course,
you will be able to. I think you'll be able to see the swap coming unless you're fogged or in smoked. Yeah. And even then, I think it's actually pretty hard to time it to the point where you're while still doing a ton of damage.
It's very smart. It's very smart.
Yeah. Well, 2 picks remaining.
So Vici needs a carry and Invictus needs a support.
Either a support or an offlaner.
Right, depending what the Nyx is.
Yeah, I feel like they're a little. I think they could use a little more disable, personally.
Okay.
I think Vici are okay in that department for the most part.
So let's assume the keeper versus keeper plus Nyx is the offlane. What carry would you want to pick up here for Vici to kind of deal with that? Like, what type of carry are you looking for?
I think Ursa is legit, but I don't know if Chinese teams actually ever run it.
Oh, they do. They love Ursa over there.
They love Ursa?
Yeah.
And I think Ursa is good here.
Okay.
Kunkka.
Yeah, they're expecting a support. They're expecting the Nyx to be the offlane here.
Yeah.
Why Ursa in particular?
I think Ursa is actually pretty good against the Lifestealer and the Ember Spirit, and your ultimate allows you to remove the blinding light as well.
Okay, so it's not just for the lightning stage, but more so against the whole draft.
You're kind of able to deal with everything in one way or another.
Okay.
You definitely need something that can get out of Ember Spirit lockdown.
See, I would say that Vici might want to pick up a core that has some sort of control, because you're mostly relying on Slaughter and Earth Spirit, and none of them is super guaranteed. But that's just me.
Maybe they'll go the troll route.
Oh, troll would be nice.
Yeah, they have a great lineup for it.
Ursa Warrior.
Okay, so they go in with the Ursa though.
So you like their draft?
Of course, I'm gonna like their draft.
Because they picked
the heroes I'm calling out.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna be biased or anything, but I.
No, you could be biased. It's
Vici Gaming.
We're not casting here. We could be as biased as
you're right. We're just the panel, the two-man panel, the most professional.
I mean, you're looking like a god right now. You're the next on champ. You're calling out, you know, all the draft picks.
I think Invictus need more disable to get away, to break off from this.
And you need a support, right? That provides you this disable.
I think it could maybe a clockwork.
Clockwork support.
Okay, Bad Rider.
All right.
I'm not too sold on this Bad Rider pick, but well.
All right. Before we send it off to the caster, how are you doing in the actual predictions?
I don't remember.
But you.
Oh, but this still counts.
We're not predicting anymore, are we?
I am.
Nobody's keeping track of score here.
I am.
I'm not predicting.
You're gonna have to.
Because
I'm going with Vici Gaming. What is your?
I'm going with Vici Gaming.
You're going with Vici Gaming. Why are you copying me?
They have the better draft. I'm not copying you. I'm trying to predict.
All right, man. Say what you want.
Say what I
Say
want.
what you want, man.
Dude, next time let me say it first.
if you're gonna copy me, man, I mean, don't be shy.
I ain't.
Just let me know.
Dude, their draft is just better.
I mean, I think so too. Well, I mean, the game.
Okay. For a second, let's actually go against our prediction, right? What does IG need to do? Clearly, like there must be some timing that they're stronger.
Oh, definitely.
So what is that timing that they need to find?
It's not even so much to do with the timing. It's just that they need to be able to have the Bad Rider get off to a decent start.
Okay.
They need to make sure that the Nyx is able to get a decent amount as well, and they just have a very, very powerful pickoff lineup. You know, you just have to be able to catch out Vici Gaming before they're able to make moves as a team.
Okay. You heard it from Steven. This is the pickoff game from IG. Let's see if they're able to execute that mid-game pickoff, particularly maybe even before the Bat Rider gets his blink. We'll have to see. We're going to send it to our casters, Blaze and Lyrical.
Oh, thank you very much, Lumi, for that lovely, lovely introduction. We'll do a quick little introduction of the players as well. We've got IG Burning here, who's going to be playing on his Lifestealer. End is going to be on his Ursa, HYM on the Earth Spirit. DDC is going to be playing the Dazzle, Ori on the Shadow Fiend, and of course, up here on the top side, Yang playing the Slider. I'll pass it off to my lovely co-caster, Mr. Blaze, as well, for the side of Invictus Gaming. Even though I already introduced Burning, got to do it, man.
You gotta do burning. You gotta do burning. Take that away from me. But we do have Q here on the Keeper of the Light. You're gonna be seeing OP take up the Ember Spirit in the mid lane. Then it's gonna be XXS on the Bat Rider in the off lane, starting off with the Iron Talon, leaving Borax to take up that 4 position, boots first, Nyx Assassin, and then we'll be expecting the Burning Lifestealer here to show us what he can do on that hero, as he has a lot throughout this qualifier.
All right, well, we're into this game. Again, it's a final game to decide who it is that's going to be moving into the Kiev Major, and they've decided to go for a Slardar in the off lane. You know, the casters are talking about beforehand that they felt like they were favoring this minus armor strategy. You've got a hell of a lot of it on this team, as well as an Ursa that can jump on top just to blow up that one particular hero. How are you feeling about the draft? Do you feel like either team has quite a significant advantage over the other?
I do agree with the panel that Vici Gaming looked very scary here. IG have to have a lot of things to come together if they're going to be able to break even in this. We're going to see a lot of action down bottom to start things off, though. And I'm not as confident in these laning configurations as I am in the overall scope of the game. Obviously, I think that there's a lot of great tempo and aggressive potential of Vici Gaming, but they did opt for this aggro tri lane, which can get a little bit dicey. You've got, obviously, a lot of potential to man up with a Shadow Wave behind an Ursa, as well as HYM just being able to roll itself in. But still, there's a lot of counterplay potential between the Impale and the Illuminate to try to just nuke down their opponents. I think that Ed's got to focus on surviving throughout these fights as much as possible, and it's going to be when DDC has a few more levels that they can really start to pressure. In the meantime, though, you do have a nice little 1v1 matchup here. Yang, as the Slaughter with his Magic Stick first, goes up against XXS, who, again, with the Iron Talon. Iron Talon Bat Rider, great for just walking off the lane and focusing on the jungle, but kind of a waste of money when you're just laning. So by forcing him into a 1v1 lane, forcing him into a more active position on the map, it actually is going to give that Slaughter a very nice advantage.
All right, we'll have to keep our eyes there and see if the Slaughter is able to deal effectively with XSS playing on this Bat Rider, who is you know, doing a little bit of harass damage here, continuing to stack up the napalm, but he does need to be careful as Yang, he just steps away again for a second, can move on down, and go in for another crush, which he has to be careful of. And you mentioned the 1v1 also that you've got there. We have another 1v1 in the mid lane, Ori versus OP on this Ember Spirit. How do you feel like this matchup plays itself out, given that we haven't seen any rotations as of yet? Yeah,
that's the big thing, is there's no exterior involvement. We see Borax getting gone out a little bit here. Poison Touch is not available, though, so they're going to have to put in a lot of hits here if they have any chance of bringing this Nyx down. But as far as that matchup goes, yeah, we do have the Shadow Fiend here, able to do a lot of good physical damage to the Ember Spirit, but not too much in terms of magical, as the Flame Guard will make sure that any raise combos get shut down pretty hardcore. So I actually really like what OP is going to be able to do as he gets more levels here. Now level 3, he's got the 200 Magic Absorb, which is a big boost to him. But of course, in the end, Shadow Fiend is still always going to get farm. Unless there's heavy ganks against him, it's still going to be Ori's lane to just farm away.
Well, and in the meantime, we have DDC and Ent who are just stuck down here while there was some rotations in from the Earth Spirit to try and at least secure that bounty rune. But seeing that there is no Earth Spirit there again, it might be an opportunity here. Well, for a first blood, they come in, they find the kill. Pretty easy peasy.
Yeah, going to be able to just roll on in, get the nice little boulder smash to pull the Ember out of position, and from there, that is going to be the kill that they need. So it's going to be Ori already starting himself off really strong, finding himself 24 out of the 30 max Necromastery here, and yeah, it's going to be a really hard lane for the Ember now.
All right, so OP ends up taking a death in the mid. I feel like this rotation from the Nyx Assassin in some ways almost has to be here, but it also feels like he's not going to be able to do a whole hell of a lot, really. This lane, there's not really the greatest heroes to rotate in. Maybe they can get a counter gank at the very least to make sure that OP doesn't die again, but this is a rough one, and Borax almost ends up on himself.
Yeah, drops down very low there, and Ori is just all the better for it. I do feel like this Nyx Assassin is quite limited before level 6 here. He's able to move, he's able to kind of get involved, but at the end of the day, he's not really great for just directly going in. You compare him to like a Lion, who at this stage would have both the Earth Spike and the Hex. This guy running in under ward vision and just able to only really drop the Impale. It seems much more of a defensive support in this context than an offensive one. In sync with the Coddle, you could put out a lot of great damage. I think that they have great 3v1 potential, but for the most part, until he gets level 6, he kind of just has to play reactively.
Honestly, OP is having a good time for himself, though. 24-3 in spite of that death, has been able to perform up to what you would hope out of this position. And do you think that this is going to be able to maybe just move off into the jungle or something to try and continue the farm and then come spam the wave or something? Or how do you see his next couple of minutes playing out for the Ember Spirit?
Yeah, I think that's the natural progression here, is you can definitely give the Nyx a little bit of solo experience time on the mid lane. And then you, of course, have the Ember Spirit focus on the jungle here. But you have to be careful. This is an Invis rune on HYM. Could kick him into a really rough spot, and that Carapace is only a 0.6 second stun right here. So Borax has to be extremely cautious and has to react very quickly to this.
Well, he ends up getting the stun, turns it back around, misses the second stun onto Ori, and well, Raze is going to connect one. Can they get another? It's not enough. They are still going to be able to bring him down with just the rolling boulder.
Yeah, I'm curious if like an instant reaction of Carapace and TP would have actually been the best call to try to deal with that situation, as it was opening with the only stun available. In the end, though, he's back in play. He refills the bottle of the Ember Spirit, and we have a 2-0 lead for Vici Gaming. And it just feels like everything's working out for them right now. I was a little skeptical about the try-v-try situation at first, but when you turn into a 2v2, Dazzle Ursa against Lifestealer and the Keeper of the Light, you're still going to be able to get quite a bit on end. And he's also going to be able to do even more in terms of pressuring the Lifestealer now that he's got more points than Furious Wife. Spurting, still top of CS for now, but it's not by a large margin.
Keep in mind, this is, again, the Vici Gaming squad that made it through the open qualifiers. They had to bring together a new team because they were, I think, reformed it after the trade lock. And to me, this feels like a squad that has a ton of potential with a lot of high-level players, but they're going to go in now onto the Bat Rider, the crush, the right clicks, and the kill. And again, just solid rotation. Vici Gaming looking good.
And they can even rotate Yang down bottom after this. They don't have to like kind of bounce the Ursa back and forth, because he does actually love to play around this circle where he pushes out the lane in tier 1, farms up a few of the western camps in the Dire jungle, and always has that threat of Roshan very early in the game. He's actually going for the headdress phase build, so it's not going to be as easy to do without a +1, but no matter what, it's always a threat that the Bat Rider has to be worried about. So this kind of ties XXS to the top lane, where he's not really getting all that much.
Well, in the meantime, they are going to bring that Bat Rider back, and Maybe if you step a little bit too far forward, the rotation with Yang as well as HYM could possibly find a kill there, but it is still sort of left now with a Slardar not really doing a whole lot. But look at how much gold he's got. He's got 1,400 gold
rolling
at this stage. As they're going to be able to possibly even just bring down this Batrider yet again. The 4-hero rotation in, and Yang a part of another kill. He is having a great game for himself.
Yeah, I mean, they're just setting him up so nicely. They are putting so many heroes up top here saying, okay, well, the Batrider's here, but we just need to get one spell on him, and it'll be actually a free kill. You let the Batrider get level 6, it's just more experience for your team as a whole, and right now you're already seeing, like, it's going to be IG struggling. We already talked about how team fight-wise, that's bottom lane. Actually, DDC is just going to be harassed back a little bit, but we've already talked about the fact that Vici Gaming are going to be, generally speaking, better in terms of early objectives. They're going to be able to push, they're going to be able to fight better, and it's going to be on Invictus Gaming to find these pickoffs when Vici Gaming spread themselves out.
Well, Batrider maybe going to have to make use of that Iron Talon himself after what's been kind of a rough couple of minutes for him. Definitely the least farmed of the cores, but it looks like they're actually going to try and get aggressive. So Remnant's available, level 6, actually they're 8 on Ember rather, and level 6 on Bat. We'll see if they can possibly find the Shadow Fiend, but he's already moving away, and they are not going to find... Oh, maybe I spoke too soon?
This would be a great opportunity for them. They really need to kill like this, but he's turning tail immediately, and they will not get the Searing Chains out.
Oh, man, that is such a blunder. Really unfortunate there, and maybe... Nah, I can't quite catch success on that. On his way out of there, so...
But the problem is, even if they extend that fight, even if they catch the Searing Chains and they're able to start putting some damage into the Shadow Fiend, he's got reinforcements. They've got a Shrine right there, he's got Fairy Fire Bottle and the Magic Wand, and he's got plenty of reinforcements. I feel like all it takes is maybe the Dazzle to TP React, and it actually turns the other way anyway. So even though they miss the Chains, I don't necessarily think that situation favors them.
And Rage comes off now for End, and they aren't going to be able to find a kill there. They are just going to have to back. A good Blinding Light makes sure that Vici don't find anything else, but these are players that are now covering each other constantly. They're making movements around the map to make sure they don't give up any kills. And you have Yang, who's going to be able to get a sub-10-minute Blink Dagger. Yeah. If we were watching this out there on the couches, this would be a point where somebody would say it's over. This is a really, really great start for Vici Gaming. And curious to see how we see Invictus Gaming deal with it.
Yeah, I think if you look at the net worth right now, you're seeing that Yang on the Slardar is above the Ember Spirit and drastically above this Batrider. He's actually like has over 50% of an advantage in terms of net worth over his opponent, the Batrider XXS. So if you just put that all in context, Yang, one of the best players for gaining momentum and controlling the state of the game, has already gotten off to the best start you can imagine in this kind of safe lane solo position. Now he's got the Blink Dagger. They're going to look for a smoke play. They don't have a Morbid Mask, so they can't take the Roshan, but they can go for the mid.
Oh man, an OP I'm sure is just going to be what? He has a Blink Dagger. It's 10 minutes into this game. And now, honestly, if they wanted to sort of share the tank of it, it looks like they're moving in towards Roshan. Yeah. Not even Presence of the Dark Lord up yet, but still, this is going to drop pretty rapidly, I would imagine.
Yeah, they got the amp damage up on it now, so it's going to be Batrider who tries to snatch the Aegis, or at least put a lot of fire in the pit. It's going to be a retreat from Vici Gaming, which is a good move from IG, making sure that they don't get that at least, but it does seem like their options are just limited as a whole. I mean, Vici Gaming at any point in time can send 2 heroes in the pit, pressure that objective, while also having the gank potential anywhere on the map. It's very scary for IG.
And the thing that I'm wondering is, when is it that we're going to start seeing some of these people ban out the Shadow Fiend for Ori? He played this, I don't remember if it was in both of the previous games, but at least one of them I remember quite clearly, and it just feels like it's a hero that fits within the way they want to play it. We haven't seen anything that's too drastically different from Vici here in this game number 1, so IG, well, they're going to go for an Infest Bomb here towards mid. I don't know if they're going to be able to find HYM. He has the kick.
They really need this to work.
Well, there's the Remnant forward. Is going to be going for it. HYM will be impaled and brought down, but can they find anything else? Yang gets the stun onto 2. Looks like they're going to back out, though. Don't want to overextend as of yet. The amp damage there as well. Ursa's running in after him. Blink Dagger off cooldown. They have the good chains, but still ends up being able to find 2. They have the Grave as well, but Yang is going to fall with that jump forward. And now maybe they can make it something else happen to this. Ori goes for the ulti, another chains, but they have got off the shallow grave. He ends up turning back around, takes down Borax, and is going to be able to live through it. My goodness gracious. Maybe XSS is going to be able to find the turnaround, but there's the stun, there's the raise. That's another kill going their way. And OP, they're going in further for this one. Can they bring him down? Ori is very low, and it looks like they are finally going to have to back out. But a pretty big team fight at this early stage.
Yeah, and it still actually favors IG a little bit considering they were already so far behind. If you look at the golden experience from that fight recap, you do see that they were able to gain a tremendous, not only 3-for-2 kill advantage, but a big upswing because of their net worth disadvantage. It just comes down to the fact that they were able to get that steering chains on the Slardar at the perfect time to keep him locked in a really bad spot on the high ground. He gets the crush a little belated, and the Illuminate comes through on just about everyone. That Illuminate from Q was just perfectly set up, and they were able to get a lot of extensive return damage. Bat Rider didn't really need to go down on the tail end of that, did get a little bit over-aggressive against the Shadow Fiend, but even then, I mean, you got to look for those opportunities, even against the Shallow Grave.
So how would you feel like we're set at the state of the game? Oh, Borax is stuck in here. All right, yeah, it's for the Vendetta out. How do you feel like we're set right now? Do you think that, like, obviously a couple of minutes ago we would have said Vici very much in a dominant position. Do you still think that's the case with this early aggression that they're most likely going to be throwing out?
I definitely do. I think that they still have the tools for initiation they need. The Bat Rider is about 1,000, 1,200 gold off of the Blink Dagger, so they don't have the element of surprise by anything but this Nyx Assassin. He's fishing, he's searching, but he also risks walking into a Sentry Ward and getting himself caught out.
They gotta be careful. Dire scan it out, realize that there's a hero up on the high ground, and well, they do end up being able to get the courier at the very least, but Borax might be punished for this. Nope. Stun? Nope, not gonna be there in time.
A moment too late, but yeah, nice little courier snipe coming out, and that is just an empty courier, but at the same time, a very much needed bounty for the Radiant side.
Well, the call comes to go for a wraparound, it looks like. We'll see if anybody ends up getting caught out here. At least for now, Vici are going to pressure into this mid lane and try and take down the tower. But there you are, Coddle right on top of him. Another blinding light causing issues. The stun on the Yang. Is it going to be able to go for a blink dagger? It's a pretty big combination. Can they take him down? The OP already going to drop. Though they did lose the Yang and now going to lose more. HYM is going to fall. They throw out a Reckoning of Souls. Not nearly enough damage. This Bat Rider is doing so much. And well, also in the context of it, another blinding light, Illuminate coming out from the Coddle. And a ton of damage dealt. Vici looking rough now.
Yeah, just so much burst damage coming out from a hero like Ember Spray. Didn't even use all 3 remnants. Still had 1 for an escape if he was able to live that long. He just drops the Veil, drops a double remnant with the Infest Bomb, and they're able to just blow up the Slardar so quickly. And everything just kind of falls apart from there. Vici Gaming, they're really great as the fight extends. Ursa builds up his Furious Waves, Dazzle gets a few more Shadow Wave Bombs, but in this case, Invictus Gaming have a ton of front-loaded damage coming in from heroes like Nyx and Ember, and they are making it work, getting some gradual comeback in this game. Along with that, the Coddle is farming actually pretty decently. Like, it's still going to be a little ways off here, maybe 2,700 gold, but a hero like Keeper of the Light can get that within the next 10 minutes, and that could be a big pickup with the Aghanim Scepter.
Well, we do see a pick-off on the Ember Spirit, and this is one of the downsides of playing this type of split-pushing style against a Blink Dagger that got so early, is that you are susceptible to getting killed off. But likewise now, Invictus Gaming do have a Blink Dagger of their own, so XSS can possibly move around the map, make some more things happen. A Lifestealer and Fest Bomb is always going to be a potent force here, and it looks like he's going to head over to where Burning is and possibly try and make some type of a move.
And it's going to be Ori going for a Black King Bar deck. So he's going straight up Shadow Blade, all your bread and butter items that cost about 600, and then move into this BKB. So it's going to allow him to be very, very aggressive. And it actually, in my mind, means that they are going to be looking to end the game within their first Roche cycle instead of the second, which is more traditional with an Ursa lineup. Usually get Aegis for like Snowball, and then you get the second Aegis to just win out the game. In this case, I think with this BKB and with an Aegis on Shadow Fiend, they're going to be looking to actually be pushing high ground with the first time they claim Roshan.
Well, that just sort of even lends more credence to the idea that if you find a pick-off now, it is going to severely slow down that timing that you were hoping to have. That being said, we do have some movements down here. Vici Gaming looking to try and, well, I guess take a fight, but they're already a little bit too late. The tower's going to be denied, and now they have to head out around the rest of the map.
Yeah, I think you just overall know that the longer you go against a Keeper of the Light and Bat Rider, the dicier the game can get. Using things like Recall for movement and just in general being able to push out the lane so easily with these heroes, it actually makes it so that as the game goes on, Vici Gaming are going to be kind of blind on the map. You're going to be up against the Aghanim's gem during the daytime, and you're just always going to have the creep waves pushed out against you, making it harder and harder to really move forward into the late game. I think the strongest point for Vici is when they snowball here and now, and I think the next 10 minutes are the most important for them.
Well, there is still some vision in the jungle gained by the side of Vici Gaming. They have some nice wards that are out. Likewise, you see some good ones from the Radiant as well. So a whole lot of vision across the board, but Vici not going to try and look for any more pickoffs at this point. Do you think it's an idea where they have to sort of smoke up and try and make a big movement, or can they just go with a couple once that Blink Dagger's online for the Ursa?
I think even 3-minute smoke is perfectly fine. I think that they're still going to be able to get kills with that no matter the case, as long as they're not too close to a tower or a shrine proxy. The biggest thing in my mind, though, is that they are kind of going in all very quickly, and they've burned a lot of smokes. Like, they've already done, I think, 3, and they've only got 1 left in their inventory. So I can imagine maybe 1 more in stock in the shop, and 1 more that they need to save for Roshan. So with 1 more big attempt, they need to make sure that it counts and make sure that they connect with things.
And this is a really big moment right now. Burning finished off his lifesteal, but you also have the blink done for the Ursa. He's actually back at home, though, so isn't going to be able to be there for defense. And this might be a decent time after they push out the lanes to try and go for something, but like you said, it's got to be huge, and it's got to be now-ish. They're moving up towards the top lane, IG, and I do believe that Vici know about this, at least to some extent. I'm backing off to the other side.
All right, so they do see the smoke that is in Earth Spirit's inventory. They did see their movements on a Radiant Ward all together, but as it is, they're not going to be wasting the smoke. They're not just going to be making their rotations through, pushing down the mid lane and pressuring bottom. In the meantime, though, this is another tower falling against Vici Gaming. Up top, it's going to be OP and Burning, pushing this one down and actually making some TP rotations mid.
Yeah. Shadowblade away to make sure he doesn't get caught out there. They do not want to end up losing any heroes at this point. Certainly, again, if you have this strong timing window for Vici Gaming, they need to make something happen. And, you know, there's a desire to naturally want to push things to the limit, but if you go too aggressive, then you lose your window completely because you end up getting a hero picked off, and that smoke might have been right underneath this ward. And
yeah, I mean, they didn't ping it out is the big thing. You might have just seen people crossing by the fog of war. You see their color pop up on the minimap, their color go away, and you don't actually know that that's a smoke in a seat. But it's going to be into the pit with the Centaur already there, that they're going to be able to jump on this Roshan and claim it extremely quickly. I do not think Invictus Gaming know about this.
Man, they might spot out. Well, no, there's not even any wards over here on the high ground. So looks like Vici are going to be able to pull themselves out with the free one. They move now, I'm assuming, in towards the mid lane as the pings come. How much do you think they can just try and force the issue now with the Aegis on the Shadow Fiend? Or excuse me, on the, who'd they stick it on?
They put it on the Ursa, actually. So ZOF is going to be just diving really hardcore. He's going to be looking for a lot of kills. But yeah, I think that kind of an in-your-face style might prevail here just because how important it is to bring down the Keeper Light quickly. The Keeper Light just finishes Aghanim Scepter, and while it is nighttime, you still have a lot of value in this Scepter. You'd be able to throw out the Illuminate, back off, and let it charge of its own volition. So it's a real problem pushing into this. They have to find a pick off first, and I think just getting initiative on the Ursa might be the best thing.
Interesting little choices here by Borax. He's been using the Vendettas to get Courier Snipes consistently. Jump in, they're on top of Burning. Excuse me, Ori right at the start. They do get the Grave off, but will he be able to survive after the fact? OP is already dead, and he does Shadowblade up, but they have vision. The Sentry Ward is there, pops the BKB on nothing to try and turn and get out of there. Burning, they're on top of him. They bring him down as well. The big Illuminate comes through, but it is not enough to kill off Yang or HYM, and Shadow Fiend somehow, some way got out of that one.
Yeah, he got he got to Shadowblade away in a really tough spot, but the Battle Ray pretty much committed everything to Ori, and as a result, the Ursa just got to run hog wild. Now, in that situation, they don't really get to convert the kills into objectives here. They kind of get battered back by Illuminate. They're all sitting at pretty low HP, so they do have to rejuice, but luckily a Shrine enables them to get right back in the fight.
Oh my god, they're on top of the Bat Rider yet again, and this Illuminate's heading out that direction. Without one more of these blasts, they should be able to take this Tier 1 tower unhampered, I would imagine. And they might even be able to find more if this Nyx Assassin gets a little bit too big for his britches.
Yeah, so that is definitely possible. Right now, they do not have anything in terms of a Gem True Sight, but they do have the ability to move forward, place sentries wherever they want. And we're actually just going to see the quick rotation top here. They know that they have to be pretty methodical about this. They want to take the whole map, not just one piece of the pie. So they are making their way up for a bit of a bait here on the high ground towards the top tier 1.
Yeah, and they dropped this sentry ward. Unlikely to find anybody. Nyx Assassin is headed off the other direction, said, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. Let me go do something else with my time for a little bit.
It worked out. See, the thing is, you would expect them to actually be pressuring bottom right now, and as a result, they almost get their opportunity here onto OP, but he quickly jumps out, gets the fire ribbon away right when the crush comes through, and now Vici only have the option of the tower.
All right, well, still should be able to take this one down. Coddle not really in position either to go for a D push in the top lane, although might end up TPing back if it looks like, yeah, they're going to try and pressure further for a tier 2. So I'm expecting the Illuminate spam. We'll see if Vici can try and convert on a kill before they can get set up here.
Got 2 minutes left on this Aegis on the Ursa. He's going to be very aggressive in the next fight. Just pretty much looking to burn that with no trouble at all. And while usually we'd say the Shadow Fiend is vulnerable as a result of that, you got this Dazzle. He's got 3 points of Grave. He should be in a great position to help keep him alive.
Yeah, they're going to be there on top of Ori. He doesn't get the Grave off, though. DDC just a little bit too far away. Only 3 points in it. Granted, you know, you don't necessarily expect that you're going to be able to get out of there. And the 4 staff that came through, clutch plays indeed.
Yeah, that's so painful. You really need that Grave out as soon as possible, and you just also worry about the Dazzle getting jumped on instead. Like, if the Dazzle gets lassoed, then you're in some real trouble, then the Shadow Fiend suddenly feels extremely vulnerable. So the Dazzle stays far enough back to avoid that predicament, only to lose out on the Shadow Fiend's life as a result.
But likewise, you have, like, this Coddle that you know is going to be recalling in the Bat Rider. How many times have we seen that move along the side of the cliffs by a Bat Rider? I don't know. It feels maybe a little bit like you don't want to commit a sentry or an observer ward there, but it's a tough situation nonetheless.
Yeah, it's just hard no matter what. However you want to position it, like until you have 4 points of Graves, a Blink Dagger of your own, the Dazzle is always in a really tough position. And while you might expect it, how quickly it happened is just couldn't catch anybody off guard at this point. They have a Blink Dagger on the Earth Spirit, by the way, so if they do get this flank here on Q, it might just be a free kill.
This should be an easy pickup, most likely. Stun is there. And on top of him, he has a blinding light. No, he's silenced up, but TP out. Crush is there. Gone. But in the meantime, we also saw Ori take down, or excuse me, just pick up a bounty run for himself.
Now, I do want to notice that Yang did pick up a Hand of Midas, so the rich get richer in the sense that he's still already doing really well for what you would consider an offlaner, even though he was in his solo safe. And he's just making sure that that kind of continues to allow him to be relevant as the game goes on. Slaughter has a lot of good talents that, as you progress towards level 25, you have the chance to be a pure anti-carry against the Lifestealer. And in general, he's going to be able to do a lot in farm. This is, however, kind of contrasting the early BKB coming out from the Shadow Fiend. He goes Shadowblade BKB. He wants to be in the fights hardcore. And, as we see, a quick little pickoff here, a little bit too far behind enemy lines is the Nyx Assassin. But Shadow Fiend BKB, a 5-second BKB is still really strong because it can guarantee that you get out your ultimate. However, obviously, it is a bit weaker as the game goes on, and it does. I think Vici Gaming wanted to be in a better position than they are right now.
Okay. That's to the tune of only, I mean, they're a little bit behind in terms of net worth, to be honest, and they're a little bit slightly behind in terms of experience as well. But I think the big thing is their fighting prowess right now is still so much ahead of what IG have to play. And this big old Shadow Fiend that's the bruiser in the front lines, the ultimate orb now in his inventory as well. They're going to back out, do not want to get caught here. And I think that a big part of it too is maybe a little bit of a questionable decisions giving that Aegis over to the Ursa. If we think about, like, as the smoke is going to be coming through, what he could have done if he didn't end up dying there in that last engagement.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it would enable them any further than they currently are as far as their aggressive position, but the way I look at it right now, there's still some really good mid to late game progression for Vici Gaming. The Mantis style is going to come out soon for the Shadow Fiend, but I also noticed that there was a Mantis style pickup on the Lifestealer himself, which I find quite interesting. Obviously, the big thing is dispelling the Earth Spirit silence. He jumps in, it's a pretty much free Geogrip on him because he has a Blink Dagger and it's such a long range. And then the Lifestealer tries to dispel that silence and to try to get the rage off. guaranteed.
Oh my god, that's a big old crush. They're going to be able to take him down. OP, dead in an instant.
Such a huge pickoff.
They were looking over there to the side for a Bat Rider pickoff on the Shadow Fiend, but they weren't expecting the wraparound. They weren't expecting the Shadow Fiend to just be completely alone in lane. They're expecting the Dazzle behind him, and well, little did they know they were wrapping around and finding the kill on the Ember.
Yeah, that is actually immense. And for 30 seconds, they don't have to worry about anything that IG have to bring to bear against them. They just take all of the top lane here. They're just going to be able to control their map and a little bit their own. So I'm actually kind of surprised they even bothered to leave these camps at the odd spawn here when they could have claimed those two. But they're just going to kind of go about their business, do what they feel is most appropriate. And items continue to reel in for Vici Gaming. So it's going to be on the Coddle, I think. Coddle really is going to be dependent on pushing out waves, getting a gem so that he can clear out the wards and just get a better idea of what's going on, because for the fourth time here, the Nyx Assassin is going to go down, and he's been trying and trying to scout and to get a better picture of what's going on with Vici Gaming. People say feeding, people sarcastically comment space created. This guy just needs information. Right now, they want more intel about where Vici Gaming are moving so they can allow their cores to farm more aggressively.
Oh man, and well, once you use your chains, there's not a whole lot else used to be able to control that Dazzle from just TPing away. So despite the Remnant usage, despite the chains, Ember Spirit is not going to be able to find that kill. And looks like Vici are going to be going back for those camps that they could have taken a little bit earlier and just finish them off now. They can pressure in mid if they want to. They've got a DD rune on Ori, and it looks like it's going to be a relatively middle-of-the-road Roche spawn time as well. So probably just going to be able to continue this very aggressive play that we've been seeing of pushing down these towers whenever they get a chance.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing that Yang picked up a Eul Scepter Divinity. Allows him to really go in here and try to, if the Bat Rider goes for a play, try to Eul's him up and prevent him from getting the getaway there with the Force Staff. I think it's a really big deal until the Bat Rider gets BKB, and then it's still a really strong item whenever a hero like Lifestealer jumps on you. You're able to do the self-Euls and make it so that he has to kind of have essentially no clear target for a 2.5 second duration. So really solid pickup, but I would say unconventional. The utility speaks volumes, but it's not the kind of man mode build that I would have expected.
Okay. Would you have rather seen something like that BKB that we will occasionally see to deal with all of the stuns coming out and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have already a lot of physical single target damage, but I would say, yeah, like an Echo Saber, BKB, Assault Cuirass type build where you're very up in there, you're able to do a lot of hard-hitting damage, and most importantly, get a bunch of good bashes out. But as it stands right now, he just wants the utility. He wants to make sure that he can keep staying involved in the fights, and we'll see if he can get the initiation he's looking for.
Well, in the meantime, Vici smoked up again. Yang leading the charge. Excuse me, not smoked up, just the Shadow Blade from the Shadow Fiend. But they are going to be able to move into Roshan if they want, and they do have eyes, realize that this is here. Also, the Radiant realized that it was there as well. They might have even spotted the creep in that brief little stint that they had going in towards the pit. But if they decide to fight, that is a completely different story.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna actually making their way towards it. They're gonna recall in. They're gonna try to make something happen, but it just happens too quickly. The Slardar already has a lot of points in Corrosive Haze, able to take 15 armor away from Roshan. They just chunk it down in no time at all. And yeah, they see it, but they just can't do anything about it in time.
Well, Shadow Fiend with the A just now means that he's going to be able to stand more readily in the front lines, put themselves out of harm's way, hopefully, and try and pressure down each of these towers while we're getting split push across the map. OP on there in the bottom lane. You got Nyx Assassin, who might be looking for a courier sniper just to get something done, not exactly sure. But in the meantime, they take down tier 2.
Yeah, it looks like it's just a safe place to TP back wherever he's needed here. He can always be recalled as well, but otherwise it's kind of a weird situation to be in for him. He kind of seems to have been multiple times this game just without a place to call home. He doesn't have a place to clearly farm. He doesn't have a great intel into where he's going to be moving. He's gotten picked off a few times. Like
Is he going into their base?
It looks like, is there a geometry site that they want? I mean, what else could he be doing here?
I don't want to be on this team anymore. Let me in, Vici. I'm done.
Right.
Oh.
It's interesting.
The Vendetta and then using the Quelling Blade. All right. We'll keep our eye on him in the corner of our eye while we talk about the rest of the game. But yeah, Vici ready to push in over here to the side. Is he going for a courier snipe inside their base?
No, there's no way.
What the hell is he doing?
I'm really not entirely sure. I mean, he's obviously in a position, right? But we're going to look over at front line here. We're going to see that the Coddle does get picked up. The Batrider used his lasso to try to pull in Yang, and now is kind of in an awkward position himself.
It would be great to have a Nyx assassin here, but...
He's there, he's here. He's going to get killed, though.
Oh, man, oh, man. Well, they get the Grave off there, off to the side. A little bit off the mark. Didn't end up getting HYM controlled, but OP is now down. The chase is going to continue for Burning. Able to jump inside that Batrider and then get away. He didn't do anything, right? I'm not...
Yeah, no. He was... I think it might have been the courier. I mean, there's a lot of theoretical value in gaining such an unexpected position, whether you're sniping items from the base, the courier coming out of the fountain, interrupting a TP or something along those lines. But realistically, none of that was going to happen at that time window, and it seemed like he just wanted to find a spot where he wasn't just AFK in his own fountain. He decided AFK at the other one.
I guess that there's nothing that you can do really at that point anyways, so it's like, well, might as well see if I can make this happen. Yeah, it's been a rough game for him, but did not end up dying in that last fight at the very least. And we'll see if maybe going forward something else can happen for Mr. Borax. He's almost to a Blink Dagger.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the Force Staff already, so he's able to either double up on the Batrider lasso pullback, or he's able to maneuver away from the Ursa or get somebody else away from the Ursa when he needs to. I think he's overall in a decent spot this game in terms of item progression. It's just he's making some very unique decisions in terms of his positioning.
All right. Movement now. They don't quite catch the Shadow Fiend in the smoke. Meaning he's going to try and bait. But as you said, okay, Yang gets the Yule Scepter lift ups, the initiation a little bit off the mark, trying to find a target. They haven't been able to get anybody as of yet. Batrider and OP already gone. DDC graves himself to stay alive. A really good impale to try and get the counterplay, but it is only just to stop the bleeding as, well, it looks like Vici are going to probably not catch anybody else here, but that was a really rough initiation for IG.
Yeah, not going to be able to find the Keeper here, but at the same time, that does open up the map to take the Tier 2 bottom most likely, but the creep wave being pushed out, they might actually just look at another lane. Right now, though, they only have 20 seconds before the Batrider's back up, 40 seconds before lasso.
Oh, what? Oh, the Nyx, he was getting set up to snipe the courier, and Coddle recalled him.
Maybe some communication issues here. Maybe
like, stop going after the courier.
Maybe honestly, like if this was a pub game, you'd be actually pretty frustrated with the guy. Like, let's get in the game, we're defending. But yeah, it seems like it's just a communication idea. Borax, he's hungry for couriers. It's the breakfast of champions, and it seems like he is gonna have to fast for a little bit longer here as Coddle pulls it back.
Well, nonetheless, 11 to 20. It's a lead of about 6,000 gold and roughly 11,000 experience into the favor of Vici Gaming. And now, if you're IG, you have to make something happen with this, but no smoke right now either. It seems unlikely that they're going to be able to find a kill. They jump here on top of the Batrider, and Lifesteal going to jump out as well. Yang gets the stun. Burning already going to be able to turn back around into this, but he is dropping low as well. Yang has another Blink Dagger available in 2 seconds if he wants, but Force Staff away, going to keep him alive. HYM chasing him down. They are going to be able to kill off Q. Borax again just forced to run away. A rough fight again for IG.
Yep, so he's going to be flanking, and we're just going to be seeing the pullback here, trying to defend the high ground. At least the Aegis is gone on the Shadow Feed, but the double damage rune is still active for a little bit longer, and it's going to force the lift.
So, Tier 3 tower going to fall. It looks like Borax is going to die, as well as maybe Burning also. He is in a rough situation for himself. OP, they're all here trying to defend and trying to fight. They bought back on Borax. Stun on the end. He's out of mana. But the BKBs pop, that's going to be the melee barracks down, and it looks like Vici to retreat. Yeah, and the Siege Creeps are going to wail away at the range racks. They might even be able to get that one, as we're seeing all of IG just try to find a kill here, and is pretty low on mana and health, but it's Slarda that actually gets caught by the mana leak. So they will get a lasso out here, trying to pull back, and can they get him in time? They will, but at the same time, they've lost their entire mid lane. Yeah, and Yang is able to barely escape from that one. The Coddle actually got the mana leak off on him and the stun after the blink. And it doesn't look like Borax is quite going to be able to catch up with DDC either. So, again, a very close call. They end up losing the Ursa, which hurts, but I think that losing a melee barracks hurts a hell of a lot more. Well, and actually the ranged as well. It ended up going down to those catapults. The Siege Creep was still on it, and they were chasing, so they ended up losing the range racks, essentially for the Ursa kill. They were hoping, obviously, for 2 or 3 picks after that in exchange, but ending up losing the range racks is and
kind of even
Fiend
worse.
has a butterfly, too.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, so he had a double damage rune, he had the Aegis at the time, he had the Butterfly, like he's just impossible to deal with, and that's why I was kind of talking about that timing where you get the BKB up and you're just ready to break buildings. Like, if they try to contest you, they die, is pretty much the bottom line.
22,000 net worth on this Ori Shadow Fiend, and it's starting to feel like there is very much not an answer, not to mention when you factor in the HYM Aghanim Scepter that he has done. So Earth Spirit Ags at 36 minutes with no Midas, pretty good game for him. You got a Dazzle who's building into a Lotus Orb. Everything is coming up Vici right now. Yeah,
I mean, he did go into like 90 GPM at level 15, but he hasn't had that for all that long. It's mostly been the fact that they've done so much damage to the structures. They've gotten tons of gold from the barracks and the towers, and yeah, he's way above all expectations in that regard. I really don't know if there is an answer to Ori's Shadow Fiend at this point in the game, because the only death that he has, he's 7-1 and 5. The only death was top lane that could have been prevented by the Dazzle if they were just positioned more perfectly.
Enchant Remnant, there it is. Yep.
Rock on, buddy.
Break TPs, does end up getting the stun as he comes out of the Remnant, does a bit of damage when you're out of that one, and that is going to end up being still a kill regardless.
So this is a really tough one for Invictus Gaming at this point. The Nyx Assassin's down, they'll get the waves pushed out, and we will be seeing 2 minutes until daytime when they're actually decent at fighting. But with the mid lane down, with all your shrines about to be taken away, and with Roche respawning in just about a minute, it just feels like everything's going Vici Gaming's way.
Well, I mean, maybe they'll be able to turn it back around again. I think that it's going to have to come off the back of some really stellar play from this Bat Rider, and most likely also the Ember Spirit. He needs to be able to dip in and out of the fight, never get caught by the Slardar, kite away the Ursa, and somehow bring down the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to the Bat Rider kind of finding those isolated kill opportunities, and for that they need even more map pressure. They need to push out these lanes higher. Like, we saw that aggressive position from the Nyx. It would be so much better if they actually had somebody pushing that top tier too, where you have a flank, maybe you kind of catch somebody off guard, and you can 2v1 them real quick before jumping back. But like, they don't have map pressure. They don't have waves pushed out. They have top lane now, but they have no heroes to back it up, because they know that if they leave, then they just lose everything.
Well, AC done on the Lifestealer might be one of the answers as well. If they can get onto some of those juicy supports in the side, then possibly you can start bringing them down and then save all of your energy for the big old targets at the end. But MKB now done on Ori as well. Everything is quite difficult, because before it was just that Shadow Fiend was hard to kill off. Like, he did a lot of damage, but it was, you know, the big thing was that you couldn't kill him. Now he does a boatload of damage, and on top of that he's hard to kill, and he's got the Myth Illusions that are running around, and they're about to have another Aegis. It's just one thing after another, and it looks like IG are not going to realize that Roche is going down, and yeah, this is a tough one.
Yeah, they've got the Infest Bomb ready to go, but they just don't have the wherewithal to be in so many places at once. You are going to see them just kind of play it back a little bit here. I'm curious if even the Lifestealer saves his cooldown for the double Infest, because right now, like, obviously he's not going to be farming much. He's going to clear out like 3 waves. He's not going to get his MKB off of it. He's still going to have to save for buyback. So I would say actually should stay inside the Bat Rider here, get 2 Infest in 1 fight, and maybe that little bit of extra damage can offset something.
It's a possibility. Slardar almost done with his BKB as well. He's going to be able to crush more and more throughout the whole scope of this map when that's done, although, yeah, that's actually done. There's no real reason to save for buyback at this point, I would imagine.
Vici are actually really scared of this position. They think that there is a real possibility of IG moving in and trying to make something happen. It is daytime. They don't have a great idea of where IG is at, so a lot of hesitation in taking the shrine just one piece at a time. But now they're getting back into formation where they're comfortable, and IG will have to show themselves eventually.
Yeah, Slardar is still got his BKB at home, waiting for the courier to be brought out to him as well, but don't want to end up losing out too much on the timing of this Aegis as well, even though they did just get it. It's always good to be pretty effective. The Ember Spirit pushing along the bottom lane, and it looks like it is going to be brought back out to him, even using the speed boost, and Ori can sort of bait along the rest of the time. How do you see this fight playing out over the next, as they think about sieging high ground?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a lot of quick burst damage from the Batrider and the Lifestealer. The Ember just jumps in. They just try to insta-give somebody like the Dazzle if they're exposed. And then they try to make sure the Slaughter can't keep blinking and moving. And from there, they just have to deal with whoever doesn't have the Aegis, in this case, the Ursa. It's not a great target to go on, but they don't really have that many options. So I do think the support backline is what has to drop first, though, because there's Enchant Remnant and Shallow Grave in play. Like, you're never going to be able to kill a core.
Oh my god, they're making the long play over here. They are going to be able to find the Nyx Assassin and well, actually kicked him to the low ground, but there's the lift up. The chase is going to continue, and they will have Borax. And I think that a lot of that, I couldn't quite tell, but they were following the Courier's path on the whole ride back, and then eventually were looking for the Ember Spirit, but it looked as if they almost expected him to be there. I'm not sure.
It's kind of awkward. It's just one of those situations where very clearly he has been making some very aggressive moves. He's been kind of memeing about this Courier to an extent where it's just like, oh, I can hunt and I can be very unique in my playstyle, but it seems like something they've seen before. They were moving up towards the top part of the map where he was before with the ward placement, running through the trees and just kind of checking things out at that point. And then it just seems like it's shenanigans that he's been up to in probably a lot of their either in-house games or ranked games. And it just seems like a playstyle they're familiar with, even though it seems quite abstract.
So you're telling me that he's a clown. Mr. Borax is a bit might have these things going on as well outside.
Yeah, but it's like Slacks. It's a clown that writes his scripts.
Okay.
So he's already got it all planned out in advance, and
Gotcha.
then he just goes and does whatever the heck he wants in the game itself.
All right. Well, all the items now up from that next tier. DDC Lotus Orb completed. We've got ourselves the Abyssal on the Ursa, as well as, of course, the BKB done now. It's time to party. See what they can do as they move up towards high ground. Not exactly sure. I mean, IG, I guess the plan doesn't really change that much. Spam out the waves. Ori on the low ground. Lotus Orb on top of him. Going to take some damage. They end up Lotus Orbing instead and going to pull him deep in there. Does still have cheese though, so this should not end up being a kill and not going to be able to make it happen. BKB's popped as well. Ori is fairly low, trying to lifesteal and stay alive through all of this. They get the Grave off onto HYM. Despite is not looking good in the least bit right now for Vici Gaming. They've lost the Earth Spirit and the Dazzle and trying to salvage it in some way, in some fashion. And Burning is going to get double force staffed away, so they do manage to keep him alive and now looking for more. The gem is on the ground. The blinding light pushback as well. Borax able to hit a stun onto Yang now, and he's going to fall as well. Yang is going to go down. They're going to lose 4, and they might even end up losing, well, the gem at the very least. But what a freaking fight from IG.
What an incredible hold coming in from Invictus Gaming. They do get the big infest bombs out there. They do get the pullback on the Ursa. Like I said, it's really hard to go on a target with all that reactive play, but at the end of the day, they were able to force out BKB and the Earth Spirit's Enchant Remnant on the Ursa at the same time. He cheeses right back as soon as he's does come out of the effect, and then he's just not able to do enough from there. They keep on swapping targets, they keep on jumping on somebody new. You saw Ori and HYM very low there, and they just pummeled them back with these huge Illuminates. 4,000 damage from the Coddle there, and we're just able to continuously put out big Illuminates, big damage, and really hold their high ground. They knew exactly how they wanted the fight to space out. The Dazzle was like caught between 2 or 3 different targets that were dying rapidly, and big plays come out in the clutch for IG.
Nicely done indeed, and Ori just going to keep on taking some more damage here. They're getting ready to push this high ground, and if you are Vici Gaming right now, you need an answer. I'm a little bit concerned right now. They're still clearly very far ahead, but is this a lineup that scales well into the late game with the Ursa?
I mean, scaling is not really the concern. I would say the map factor is. I would say the fact that you're up against a Batrider and a Keep to the Light, this makes it so that as the game progresses, you're going to be constantly seeing the map go darker and darker for Vici Gaming, and they're going to be having to fight for every bit of map control. I mean, look at the wards that just got placed out here. You've got a ward by the Dire Secret Shop, you've got one by the jungle, you've got one in their freaking base, and at daytime, you're going to have that Aga Gem again for Q, and they're going to be able to take away any Dire wards that exist. Combine that with a little bit of wave push here and there from the Ember Spirit, and you've got yourselves a tough spot for Vici Gaming. They're stronger right now. They're much stronger. But their only option right now is either farming blindly and getting picked off, or pushing high ground into Illuminates and Batrider lassos. And it's extremely difficult for them to deal with it at this
Look
stage
at
in the game.
Borax here. He has a gem. He is inside their base, going to drop another ward, and it looks like they're almost able to run there into the Ember Spirit, but if he gives up a gem here, like, this is the boldest play in the world. How are you just going to eat a couple trees and then, like, hold a gem inside behind their tier 3s?
Borax Dota, man, like, he makes it interesting.
He's going for the courier,
and
isn't he?
He's gonna get another courier. Oh no, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be probably going down, but
he'll wait for it to come back. He'll kill it and then TP out. That's actually the play right here. That is insane. Borax is just putting the moves on in this game. Like,
what the hell?
It's so abstract is the perfect word to describe it, because it's such a weird way to play Dota. But if they're not able to really take advantage of any of their income because they don't have ways to ferry their items out, if they get kind of torn apart between scouting out this annoying Nyx assassin and trying to farm on the front lines, it actually is extremely disruptive across the map.
Yeah, and now they have the BKB though, and they are going to be able to catch on to Burning, so that is a big, big old kill for them there. It does look like they're going to force out a couple of the different BKB charges for that kill, but, well, it's, you know, every little bit helps nonetheless. The courier snipe, they're slowing down this movement of Vici, and as you mentioned, the vision game always going to be a factor. Now the question is, do they realize that there's a ward inside their base because of that courier snipe?
Not just one, but two.
Yeah.
Like, it's just outside the ring of vision, and I'm not even sure how much that intel really matters necessarily. Like, how often are Vici Gaming going to be walking around in their own base, just showing off that they're in that position? But it's just, in general, it's very disruptive, and it just forces them to be in so many places at once.
All right, OP most likely to die here again, so they lose the 2 cores.
They have to force the buyback here for sure.
This is a moment for Vici. They have a creep wave in towards the mid lane. They do not have, I guess that they can just push in along the top.
Well, buyback is forced. They say, please, don't push. That's don't push me buyback. In this case, it seems like it's enough. Vici Gaming take that, and they just say, okay, well, next time we pick up the Ember, if it's in the next 7 minutes, he won't be able to come back, and we will pretty much just have a free game.
All right. That is their way back into it. Well, not back into it, I should say. It's still a 10,000 net worth lead and right around 5,000 experience. Like, we can talk about these sneaky little shenanigans by the Nyx assassin all we want, where it feels like they're kind of doing whatever they want with them. But they're still down a laner barracks. There's still a tier 3 tower down over here, and all their shrines are gone.
So. Really important smoke. Like, if they find the Ember, it is just a game-winning move. But at the same time, you have to be a little bit wary. The Coddle can move in.
Oh, they're on top of him. Q already dead. Can they find anything more here? The BKB pop for Anyhow. Now looking for his opportunity to jump onto OP. He crosses instead, but there's the BKB from XYZ, and he's going to end up being able to get out of there. So they only get the Coddle.
Yeah, but they still force a very defensive reaction here. Roche is going to be coming up here in just a minute, and they're still pinging defense on Radiant, but Vici Gaming thinking about their options. Can they get the wave? They just need waves pushed out at this point. Ember Spirit's going to push out bottom to try to mess with that, but he has to bounce back very quickly. He didn't even complete the TP.
Oh, this is scary. The Courier is coming in with the MKB as well as a Hyperstone, and it looks like they are going to be able to speed boost it past before anything comes of it. But yeah, another buyback forced, and now in towards Roshan. It's still a very long respawn time, but if Vici could secure this, this would be another path towards winning.
Luckily, the Dominator creep allows them to know the instant it spawns. They gotta be looking at their watches at this point and being like, okay, it's about that time.
Oh, they spotted the smoke. They are ready. They are so ready. They jump forward, catch on to Q. Gonna be able to crush him as well with the 4-step away. Borax saving his buddy there for a moment, but still is going to be in trouble. Can they bring it down? Enchanted Remnant is gonna be able to save Ori as well from the lasso, so Burning could not stay on top of him. 4 are going to die from this one, and it looks like with that, IG are most likely going to drop the first game. Triple kill for Ori, and sick plays right there from HYM, but they smoked while the creeps were in their base. They were in complete vision.
Tough. It's really tough, because you know that if that Roche goes down, you're already down to lane of Rax and that tier 3. You don't have a buyback on your Ember Spirit. You know that Vici Gaming are going to get cheese and agent for free unless you move then. Because we've seen the last 2 Roshans. Yeah. It happens in like 6 or 7 seconds they can break this hero, or this mega creep down. And so they knew that they didn't have a lot of time on the clock. Subtlety was out. They just had to move. And when Vici Gaming see that opportunity, they pounce on it, they break it down, and that's going to be game 1 in the books for Vici Gaming here, 51 minutes in.
Well, very impressive display from them throughout these qualifiers, making it all the way through the opens, making it through the group stages, and now possibly one game away from making it to the Kiev Major. Ben Lyrical joined as well by Blaze. Any final words before we sign off for this one?
I mean, I think that Vici Gaming are playing the exact kind of game that they want. They're very aggressive, they're very active, and while we do have to say that there were some interesting plays from the Nyx Assassin, I do think that Borax Dota has its limits in terms of its effectiveness and really doing much more than disrupting the action. I think that he needs to step it up and be more directly involved in the next game.
It's not 0-0, by the way. That's actually going to be flipped around the other way. Don't worry, guys. We got it going. We are going to be moving into this. Hope that you guys enjoyed, again, what could potentially be the final game in these Kiev Major qualifiers. The Insanity Hub is winded down now, and it's going to be IG versus Vici Gaming when we return.